Yeah, really jittery right now.
No, you don't have to be. Just relax, calm down, have some water if you want.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that.
Bismillah. Okay. All right, so we are live. All right. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. So today, the date is September 17th, 2025. The time is 10:39 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We have today with us Muhammad Abdul Rahman Tariq. He is going for his diploma in DevOps and Cloud Advancement, EduQual Level 4. The topic is DevSecOps and Infrastructure as Code for Secure Multi-Cloud Deployments on Azure and GCP.
Yes.
There are different learning objectives. Use Ansible and Terraform for automated cloud infrastructure provisioning, implement DevSecOps with continuous security testing using Snike and Checkov, and set up multi-cloud deployments and apply security policies using Open Policy Agent. Something here that even your brother hasn't done it yet. So there are certain things that if you can show me the demonstration part, that will be very interesting. For the presentation part, you'll be given minimum 15, maximum up to 25 minutes, inshallah, and then followed by a Q&A session of 30 to 40 minutes. The whole exam should be wrapped up within 1 hour, 1.5 hour, half hour maximum. That's the goal, inshallah. Do you have any questions before we proceed?
No. The demonstration part, you mentioned a demonstration part about Open Policy Agent.
No. What I'm saying is demonstrate to me, as I'm not going to ask you to show me how do you install and configure the agent. No. I'm
Right.
going to ask you demonstrate to me your expertise that you have learned and harnessed so far as it relates to Open Policy Agent. What is it?
So the interview part,
All of
basically.
those, yes, all of those things related to
Okay.
the part of the exam. I cannot go
Right.
outside the boundaries of the exam.
Yes.
Okay. Are you ready?
Just wanted to confirm. Yes, I'm ready. I'll screen share.
You may share your screen, and when I tell you to start, you may start then.
Okay.
Okay, you may start now. Bismillah.
Can you see the presentation?
I can.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Muhammad Abdul Tariq. Well, it's not really morning, it's more like evening, but yeah, my name is Muhammad Abdul Tariq, and today I'm going to be presenting my final project for the Diploma in DevOps and Cloud Advancement. The topic of my presentation is going to be DevSecOps and Infrastructure as Code for a secure multi-cloud deployment, and I'm going to be trying to outline a modern and efficient way to build and secure cloud infrastructure. So let's get started. So in this presentation, we're going to tackle one of the most critical challenges in modern IT, which is managing complex cloud infrastructure in a way that is not only going to be robust and automated, but also going to secure our infrastructure from the very start. So our focus is going to be on solving the problem of manual, unreliable infrastructure by integrating DevSecOps principles with infrastructure as code. So how we're going to be doing this is going to be diving into a toolkit of essential technologies. So we're going to be talking about how we can use Ansible and Terraform to automate our infrastructure provisioning, and we can use Snake and Checkov to automate DevSecOps and security testing, and Open Policy Agent, also known as OPA, as I'm going to be calling it for the rest of the presentation, to have centralized governance. So let's start off with automated infrastructure provisioning. So the foundation of any secure multi-cloud deployment is going to be automating the creation of our infrastructure. So this is where Terraform is going to be coming in. So at its core, Terraform is a tool that will allow us to define and provision our infrastructure as code. So this means that we can write a simple configuration file that will describe exactly what we want in our infrastructure, such as virtual machines, subnets, storage, anything. And then Terraform will handle the provisioning and creation of all of our infrastructure. So the real strength of Terraform is that it can be used across multiple cloud environments at the same time. So it's cloud agnostic. So that's why it's a really good tool to use in our multi-cloud deployment. And the mechanism is that we're going to simply define the desired state of our infrastructure in the Terraform file. And then Terraform will take the necessary steps to log into our cloud provider and then make the changes required to reach that state. So we will actually have to configure our credentials inside our terminal before using Terraform, but that's a pretty simple process. So that's Terraform. And after Terraform is provisioned the virtual machines, for example, then we have to work on configuring those virtual machines. So that's the next logical step, right? So configuration management is going to be just as important as infrastructure provisioning for our secure multi-cloud deployment. So we're going to be using, well, firstly, what configuration management is. Configuration management allows us to remotely run scripts on our provisioned machines. So once Terraform provisions them, they'll just be, a blank slate. They'll just have the operating system running on them. But with configuration management, we can, for example, install Nginx and run web servers on them and whatever we would need to do and get them user ready and ready to serve users as soon as possible in an automated and efficient way. So we're going to be using Ansible for this. So we're going to be using Ansible above other tools like, for example, Puppet and Chef because Ansible is agentless. So what that means is that we don't have to install some kind of special tool, special software manually on those machines first. So long as we have SSH configured on the machines and the Ansible user has permissions necessary to, run the scripts, then we can use Ansible to remotely run scripts across a bunch of machines and install our applications on those machines. So it's a really strong tool because it works really, really well with Terraform. Since as Terraform keeps provisioning the machines, then Ansible can keep configuring them, and we can have a really secure and automated infrastructure provisioning and configuration management system. So once we have a great automation pipeline, so our next step is going to be focusing on our security. So this is where DevSecOps will come into play. So our strategy is going to be shifting left with our security, which means that we're going to be trying to baking in our security from the start instead of just bolting it on at the end. So with firewalls or intrusion detection systems, of course, we're going to be doing that as well. But baking our security in from the start is a lot more efficient because if in the event of a security breach, then our code is going to be secure. We're not just going to have user credentials in plain text in our configuration files, right? So that's one of the things that DevSecOps will be trying to prevent. So how we're going to be shifting left that security is we're going to be using two main tools. They're called Snike for application independent security and Checkov for infrastructure as code application security. So let's talk about Snike first. So Snike focuses on our application independent security. Its role is going to be scan our application code and its dependencies to identify known vulnerabilities or CVEs, also known as common vulnerabilities and exposures. So Snike is going to be integrated directly into the CI/CD pipeline and will automatically scan at critical moments like code commits or whatever we define. And it can prevent the introduction of vulnerabilities from the initial stages of our development cycle. So while we'll be focusing on the application, another thing the Snike does is also gives immediate feedback to our developers. So for example, if there's an error inside a code file, then Snike will provide documentation and the best and most efficient way to solve that error while not compromising the security of the application or compromising the functionality of the application. So it's a really, really good tool for coding, and it allows basically anyone to be a really good developer or write secure applications. Well, that's hyperbole, but yeah. So moving on to Chekhov. So while Snag will be focusing on the application, we also need to secure the infrastructure code itself. So this is where Chekhov will be coming in. So Chekhov performs static code analysis on our Terraform configuration files. Its purpose is going to be to identify common misconfigurations, vulnerabilities, and syntax errors before that infrastructure is ever provisioned. So before we provision insecure infrastructure, before there's a security risk to our applications, Chekhov will scan your code and will tell you if you have some kind of errors and will help you fix those errors. So this is really important because a simple misconfiguration, like for example, an open port or an improperly configured S3 bucket or storage bucket, this can expose the entire environment to a security risk, and Chekhov will ensure that our coding with Terraform is as error-free as possible. So, for example, there's a company called Capital One. So in 2019, Capital One suffered a massive data breach where a misconfigured storage bucket led to the exposure of over 100 million customer accounts. So the root cause was because they had a firewall misconfiguration in their web application firewall. So this is exactly the kind of errors that Chekhov will help us, avoid. And as you all know, we don't really hear about Capital One anymore because, of course, 100 million customer accounts being compromised is a really big deal, right? So Chekhov will help us avoid that and will help us avoid errors like that. So the final piece of our puzzle, after automating configuration management, automating infrastructure provisioning, and DevSecOps with security testing, is going to be unified policy management. So managing different policy engines across a multi-cloud deployment can pose an extremely complex challenge. That complex challenge is called policy sprawl. So when you have different rules for different cloud providers, which creates, inconsistencies and security gaps. So the tool we're going to be using, Open Policy Agent, is made exactly to solve this kind of issue. Because what it does is it uses a declarative language called Rego, and it allows you to define policies from a single policy engine independent of the cloud providers. So how it works is essentially you have JSON data fed into Open Policy Agent, and it'll compare it with the policies within Rego and, for example, some additional JSON data. And it will provide a decision based on what's written in the policies and additional data that it consults. So its real benefit is that it centralizes our governance, allowing us to enforce policies consistently across our multi-cloud deployments. So whether it's access control, data encryption, or network configuration, OPA automatically figures out the specifics for each cloud provider, ensuring your policies are consistently enforced without manual effort or with minimum manual effort. So, for example, I'm sure you've all heard of the company called Airbnb. It's a really popular house rental company. So they need to enforce consistent security and compliance rules, like ensuring every service has an owner tag across thousands of engineers and services. So they use Open Policy Agent for that. And as you all know, they're extremely successful. So it worked out really well for them. So yes, and here's a diagram explaining how Open Policy Agent works. So if a Kubernetes JSON file or something, any kind of request comes into our service, then the service will query Open Policy Agent, and the Open Policy Agent will consult the Rego policy that's been written and some additional JSON data. And then it will return a decision back to the service, and then the service will act based on that decision and decide whether to allow or deny. It's just going to be a basic yes or no decision here, allow or deny. And yeah, service is going to act based on that. So it's going to be acting as a broker between the policy and data and service here. So yes, to wrap things up, our approach to DevSecOps and ISC for secure multi-cloud deployment is going to be focusing on three main pillars. We're going to be using Terraform and Ansible to automate manual tasks and automation. We're going to be using Snyk and Chekhov for proactive security and shifting left without security and baking it in from the start. And then we're going to be using OPA or Open Policy Agent for centralized governance to manage all of our policies across multiple cloud providers from a single policy engine. And we have a diagram showcasing how our infrastructure is going to look, how our CI/CD pipeline is going to look. So we're also going to be implementing GitOps here. So for example, if a developer wants to commit some Terraform infrastructure files or an Ansible playbook, right? So they'll do a git commit and they'll go inside the pipeline, and then Chekhov will scan the Terraform configuration file, and Snyk will scan the Ansible configuration and Ansible playbook. And once they're approved by Chekhov and Snyk respectively, then the Open Policy Agent will make the final decision on whether those changes can be rolled out to GCP, Azure, or whatever, So that's going to be how our infrastructure is going to look. And this is going to be really high, it's really automated and extremely secure because as you can see, we have automation everywhere. And Snake will be checking Ansible, Chekhov will be checking Terraform. And of course, if, for example, Chekhov goes down, Snake can, check Terraform configuration files to a limited degree. But yeah, that's going to be how our infrastructure is going to look. So yes, thank you for your attention. I am now open to any questions you may have. And yeah,
Okay. Can you please stop the sharing of the screen?
okay. So was that like in time? How many minutes was that?
I'm just writing it down. Please wait.
Okay.
Took you around like, I would say out of 25, 11, 40 minutes are left. So roughly 15 minutes.
Okay, cool. So it was in time.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So let's start the Q&A.
Okay.
What are the three pillars emphasized in the presentation for achieving secure multi-cloud DevSecOps environment?
Automation, practice security, and centralized governance.
What does centralized governance really means?
Centralized governance refers to the practice of managing security policies and policies across multiple cloud providers from a single policy engine.
Okay. What kind of tools can we use for automation?
We're going to be using Terraform and Ansible, but we can also use tools like Puppet and Chef, for example.
What is meant by proactive security?
Practice security refers to baking in our security from the start of the software development lifecycle and implementing it before anything is, put into the infrastructure, before anything is provisioned or put into production.
So why do we have to do this like prior to going into production? Why earlier? Why not?
Because if we try to do it after we publish them into production and our code still has critical security errors, then that can be problematic because if those errors are compromised, then that costs our organization a lot of money. And user data could be exposed.
Is your brother sitting next to you?
No, no one. I'm alone in the room.
You're done
I
with
have
your
headphones on.
interview. Once you're done with your interview, tell him to watch my interview.
Okay.
Okay, this is very important. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So how does Terraform ensure consistency across the Azure and GCP and multi-cloud deployments? I mean, how does that?
Because you have a single configuration file that defines all the infrastructure and that all of your DevOps personnel are going to be working on. So that ensures that all of the DevOps personnel won't be creating separate things and will all be working on a single configuration file. So that will be helping with consistency.
So within the IAC, infrastructure as a code, there's the API key, right?
Yes.
That API key is a master key for the cloud services consumption, right?
Sorry?
So in order for the application to use cloud services like SNS, AWS services, Azure, GCP.
Yes. I'm sorry, your voice isn't exactly clear. I have my volume at full.
Well, I don't have any problem in terms of hearing you, so I'm not sure what is
No, I
happening.
don't think I do.
Okay. Is the voice okay now?
Yeah, somewhat. Okay.
Because I don't have any internet problems per se. That's why I'm telling you, like, okay, so let me know if you can hear me clearly.
I mean, can you move a bit closer to the mic, maybe?
There is no mic. It's built
Oh,
in
you're just
Mac.
the laptop's one.
I don't
Okay.
have to use a mic, right? So it's a MacBook,
Okay. Okay.
right? Okay, so within the infrastructure as a code, right? There's
Right.
an encryption key. There's not, sorry, not an encryption key, but there's a key, API key,
Right.
which is the same key that is being used to call and consume all kinds of cloud services, right? What is
Yes.
best practice to protect that key?
Encryption for starters.
Okay, well, encryption. Okay, what else?
Encryption, and if it's in transit, then use a secure network protocol.
No, I mean, what are the best practices for encryption keys?
For encryption keys, using a secure encryption key like RSA or
The best practices. This is related to your automation part. This is related
automation.
to your infrastructure as a code part. What is it?
Can I consult my presentation?
Of course you can.
Okay.
I want to know the best practices for encryption.
Um,
Okay, let's move on.
okay.
It's key rotation.
It's key rotation.
Rotate
Okay.
the keys. You have to rotate the key.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
That's why I'm telling you, once you're done with the exam, ask your brother to come and watch the exam.
He normally watches the interviews.
Well, this is very important for him. Okay.
Okay. I'll make sure to remind him.
Okay. So why is Ansible considered more flexible compared to traditional configuration management tools?
Because it has an agentless architecture and you can um, configure the machines remotely without having to install an agent on it beforehand.
Okay. What else? What else is there?
Other than it being an agentless architecture, the fact that it uses SSH, which should already be built into your machines if you're going to be developing on them. So you don't have to make too many extra changes to your code in order to, use Ansible. It's pretty seamless to integrate into your infrastructure.
What else is there?
It uses Bash script to run
Nice,
the
human
code.
readable.
Human readable playbooks, right? Human readable
That's what I wanted
playbooks,
to hear. Okay.
right?
Okay.
Okay.
What is the role of checkoff in DevSecOps pipeline?
Checking our Terraform configuration files to ensure they don't have any major errors or errors.
Okay. What kind of testing does it do?
Static code analysis.
What is meant by static code analysis?
Well, compared to dynamic code analysis, it's like you just run the scanner, the code analysis. You just run the scanner on your configuration files, and it scans. You have to
Scan.
do it manually.
I mean,
Yeah.
what is it trying to find out?
Vulnerabilities. Scans for vulnerabilities
What kind
and
of?
misconfigurations, syntax errors, things like that.
So essentially, I mean, static code analysis is a process for reviewing software. Software what? Like software. Give me some points.
It's Wait, sorry. Static code analysis is a process for reviewing
Software
like
code to look for what?
software code,
Yes.
to look for vulnerabilities, exposures, misconfigurations, syntax errors,
Yeah, okay. So
syntax.
it's a process to identify bugs, security vulnerability,
Yeah.
code
Yes.
quality issues,
Yes.
deviations from the standards and stuff like coding standards and
Yes.
okay. Okay, power play is over now. Okay.
What?
Well, the first 5 questions are power play, just like in cricket. You know, you get the easy questions, right?
Oh,
These were the
okay.
easy questions, right? So now we jump
Okay.
into tougher questions, right?
All
So
right.
in the power play, you secured out of 12.5, 10. You just dropped the ball and won, right?
Mm.
Okay. All right. So Bismillah. So uh, how does Open Policy Agent reduce policy sprawl in a multi-cloud environment?
By providing you with a centralized governance policy, with a central policy management engine,
You know, we
and it,
you're right. You just by providing a centralized management engine, like we read all of these things, and we still end up with, you know, uh, different kind of sprawls within our lives. Like for example,
right?
In Pakistan, there are these different denominations of religious parties, right?
Yes.
So rather than following the same standard, the Quran and Hadith, they come up with their own sprawling techniques
Yes.
and they come up with their own things and people follow them. When in fact, it's a sprawl happening right now, there and then, right? So when you are going through all of these things, pay attention to things
To
around.
just the central policy of just Quran and Hadith.
Yeah, I mean, we have left that. And
We have, as a society, we have.
so, okay, so how could role-based access control RBAC, right?
Yes. I
Uh,
studied about this in CISSP.
you did what, sorry?
I studied this in CISSP, right? Far back.
Yeah, you're a CSSP certified, right?
No, I'm not certified yet, but I think I've studied. I have
Yeah,
the
okay.
knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, whatever we ask going through is part of the exam anyway. So,
Yes.
how could a role-based access control be integrated into the presented pipeline for added security that you have?
Um, you could make it so that only certain access rights have the ability to provision infrastructure or to run the pipeline, and also to ensure that Terraform, for example, doesn't destroy or remove infrastructure, critical infrastructure. So you could make it so that it doesn't have the rights to do that.
So the answer is by defining the rollback access policies with OPA, right?
Oh,
For cloud
yes,
native IAM services, restricting which teams can provision, modify, or deploy infrastructure in Azure
right.
CP, right? That's something that we have internally within our organization as well. Um, let me open one thing. This is slide number, what is the slide number? Slide number. Yeah, okay, slide number 13, right? So in the diagram on the slide number 13, how do
Right.
OPA, SNIKE, and Checkov complement each other in the CI/CD pipeline?
Because it's not, because they all scan for different things. They all control different parts of security. Snipe scans the Ansible code and it works with application and dependency securities with dependency vulnerabilities. Chekhov works with infrastructure as code vulnerabilities in the Terraform configuration file, and OPA kind of does everything on the cloud for us and secures our cloud by working with the security policies on there. So they all work with different domains of security in our pipeline, in our infrastructure, and that's how they complement each other.
So SNIKE handles code dependency vulnerabilities. Checkov addresses what? Checkov handles what?
Infrastructure as code vulnerabilities.
I see
So Terraform
misconfiguration.
configuration.
And then OPA
Yeah.
does what? And then OPA does what?
OPA handles cloud vulnerabilities,
It
cloud
handles,
vulnerabilities,
it enforces not
vulnerabilities
vulnerability,
that
no, it
aren't
enforces
really on the
governance.
code.
OPA doesn't handle vulnerability.
Yeah,
It
and security
enforces
policies.
rules across all clouds, creating a layered security control framework. That's all OPA.
Right,
It doesn't handle vulnerabilities, right? Okay.
right.
All right. So suppose there's a financial enterprise which deploys workloads across Azure and GCP.
Financial what?
Hold on, I'm not finished. It's a financial enterprise, it's a company.
Okay, it's a company.
Suppose there's a financial enterprise which deploys workloads across Azure and GCP. This question is coming from your diagram, right? Terraform provisioning succeeds, but Chekhov flags,
Right.
identity access management misconfigurations repeatedly, encryption keys vulnerabilities, like all of these kind of different misconfigurations are identified. How should the DevOps engineer redesign the pipeline?
Um, by categorizing the vulnerabilities on severity, so they could focus on working with the most severe vulnerabilities, the ones that could compromise everything, and then they can work. And then once that's done, if they have to get if they have to get the infrastructure out as soon as possible, then they can categorize it by vulnerabilities and then by severity of the vulnerabilities, and then work with the severe ones and work on the less severe ones after it's been pushed to production.
Okay.
Is that the answer that you're looking for?
Not the complete answer, but I will take it.
Okay.
Okay. Because, like, what I asked you was like, how does a DevOps engineer redesign the pipeline? So for the redesigning, introduce your pre-commit hook, with checkoff scans. That's what you have to
Right.
do in the diagram. Enforce mandatory policy checks via OPA before Terraform apply, and integrate an approval workflow process that blocks deployments using IAM rules that meet baseline standards. That's the answer
Okay.
I'm looking for. You provided me a slightly like different answer. I will take it. Um, you scored some points on that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So you are asked in an interview, what is the single biggest challenge in DevSecOps for multi-cloud IAC, and how would you address it?
I think the single biggest challenge would be developers and convincing them to change into using, Snike and Checkbob and tools that you outlined. And how I would address it is by promoting a security culture and talking about the benefits of using Snike and Checkbob in the long term and how it's going to save us development time in the long term.
It's not the developers which is the problem,
The senior management,
no, no, it's not the same. The biggest challenge is policy consistency across providers.
us, so OPA, or policy agent used for that.
Because for the DevSecOps, for a multi-cloud IAC, the question was, what is the single biggest challenge in DevSecOps for multi-cloud IAC? And how would you address it? So
Emphasis on the multi-cloud part.
from a DevSecOps perspective, like which is the development security operations, you know, having to apply a consistent policy across providers, that's the most biggest problem. And then to address by centralizing governance with OPA, maintaining reusable Terraform modules and embedding security scans into the CI/CD pipeline. That is the problem with the biggest problem the DevSecOps faces. Thing is, like, it has nothing to do with the senior management. The senior management is doing their job. It's that
Well, yes, but convincing them to allow us to use these tools.
no policy consistency across providers. I'm asking you, the question is the
The
biggest
emphasis on the
challenge.
multi-cloud part, right?
Please do not interrupt when I'm talking.
Sorry. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Jumpy right
Seriously.
now. So the biggest challenge in policy is policy consistency across providers, because it's a multi-cloud environment and you have different, you know, providers and different uh, portions of the cloud that you're using, right?
Right.
Okay. Exam is over. I'm done.
Already?
Yeah, this is, essentially level 4 exam. I can't go deeper.
Right. Okay.
How was your exam?
Uh, I don't know, to be honest. I feel like I did okay on the presentation part. It, just barely within time. Interview part, I feel like I started dropping the ball once it got to the harder questions.
Oh, I could go much deeper, but this is level 4. Level 4,
Yeah,
you can't go deeper than that. I mean,
right.
but still you did well. Alhamdulillah.
Okay, that's relieving.
But your analysis is right, right? So I will give you your score. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So your score is, you secured 23 out of 25 in the presentation. The presentation
Okay,
was very good. It's 92.
that's high.
Very
Okay,
clear, methodical. It covered everything. Strong communication skills. Alhamdulillah, very good. In the Q&A part, in the first 5 questions, that was power play questions, right? Easier. We let the student get comfortable, etc., etc.
right,
You secured out of 12.5, you secured 10 out of 12.5. So that was
right.
the last 5 questions, you secured 8 out of 12.5. So your Q&A
Okay,
part is 18 out of 25, which is 72%. So your combined total, 92 plus 72 comes to 82%.
okay.
Okay, so I was expecting you might reach 92 here as well.
Yeah,
that was not the case. But anyway, nonetheless, it's a good effort, right? Um,
Yes.
Look, this is level 4. Level 4 only gives you 120 credits equivalent of a bachelor's, right?
Yeah.
So you need to work on the labs. You need to work on completing basically all the other things. There's a 16-year-old, kid. His name is Sayyid Abu Rahman. How old are you?
16.
16, right? That person
Right.
is 16 years old. He's going for his master's program.
MashaAllah.
Did his O level? Just you did your O level as well, right?
Yes, yes. I got A's and B's.
Right. So he did his O level. MashaAllah, he secured, I believe A's as well, A's and A plus, whatever. And then he went for level 4 and level 6. So he passes level 4 and then he passes level 6 back to back because he was studying level 6. So he did his level 4 exam. And then after 3 months, he came back to me, he did his level 6 exam. Now he's going in February next year at London South Bank University for his MSc in Applied Artificial Intelligence, right? So
Okay.
that's a great achievement for him at the age of 16, and he also become the youngest QB astronaut in the world right now, the one and only,
MashaAllah.
inshallah, right? So that is a good career progression. In my view,
Mm.
that is the same pathway that you should pursue as well. Inshallah.
That's the same pathway I plan to pursue as well. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So rather than investing your money in CSSP, which in my view is not worth the effort or the money right now for you in your case, right?
Right.
Because it's a introductory qualification in cybersecurity management, right? Most of the time, I've seen people who have CSSP doesn't know anything about what they're doing, right? So my
Yes.
recommendation to you would be do not go for these for CSSP qualification. It's not worth the time and investment in your case. If you want to
I'm
go for QB astronaut exams. Nonetheless, they are good. They look good on paper. Again, these qualifications, they look good on paper, but they don't teach you the hands-on stuff, right? Even Sayyid
yeah.
Abu Rahman, who was a QB astronaut, struggled in his exams. I believe he also secured, I have to look at his marks. Abu Rahman. Muhammad Abu Rahman, he secured 81%. So in the
Okay.
presentation,
It's
was 22.
1%.
Yeah, on the presentation,
1% ahead.
and you were 23. In the Q&A, he was 74 and you were 72, right? So you just basically beat him by 1%, right?
Yeah.
Because of that additional marks, right? So you are there, inshallah, right? So my
Inshallah.
recommendation to you is complete the labs, get the labs done. The labs will teach you a lot, inshallah. Okay?
Inshallah.
That will take you to the next level. Then, along the way, complete the QB astronaut certification because that's a good discussion,
Okay.
pointer. Nothing else. QB astronaut will not even enable you to do what you have to do in the production environment. However, the labs will make you think multiple times of how to do a specific task in a production environment.
Um,
That's my recommendation for you. Go ahead. You want
I
to say?
have I have actually done the global internship program that Nafi had a few
No,
months.
no. Al
No?
Razak Labs, Al Razak Cloud
Al
Labs, not
Razak Labs.
Al Razak
Okay.
Cloud. That is something you have to do. You have to do Al Razak Cloud Labs. Part
Okay.
two,
Inshallah.
one and part two. Part one is
Right.
related to your course. Part two is all hands-on. It covers observability, DevOps, DevSecOps, cybersecurity, incident response, communication, architecture through TOGAF, multiple things,
Okay.
GRC. So all these 22 areas, there are 23 areas altogether. 22 areas are the ones where you have to focus on. 23, the 23rd area is the one which is based on your KYC, process, where do you want to go, what do you want to do, etc., right? So based on that, we give you a specific set of labs which can range from 2,000 to 3,000 tasks that you have to do, right? Everything is
Right.
ready, the containers are ready, everything is ready. So that will give you a lot of confidence when you go, inshallah. And for example,
Inshallah.
you're going to go to UK for your master's program next year, whenever you want to do, but you need to have a level 6 qualification. You can't go on level 4. Otherwise, if you go on level 4, you'll be given admission in second year of bachelor's, which is like 2 years of,
Right.
that's going to be a lot of money, right?
Right.
A lot of samolis you have to pay. So the best thing to do for you is just go for the master's program, which is like you only pay 1 year worth of samolis, right? Right.
Okay.
I'm naming British GBP, Great Britain pound, as a samuli, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean that's still manageable as compared to doing that. Plus, inshallah, with your age and everything, you should be able to secure better employment prospects and immigration status as well, inshallah. Okay.
Inshallah.
Congratulations again, mashallah, passing the exam. Very good.
Yeah.
You know, I was expecting more.
Yeah.
I was expecting 92, 93%, but you struggled in.
Personally, I'm mostly just happy that I managed to pass.
Oh,
But
really? Mashallah, that's good. But this is
yeah,
level, you still have level 6. You can do more, inshallah.
I'm gonna do that, inshallah. So,
Inshallah, level 6, focus on level 6, focus on the labs, inshallah. Uh,
inshallah.
the oral exam is going away. So there you have to do certain things. I can tell you the new things which are coming that will, then it's all up to you how you want to do it.
Okay.
And you can easily secure higher marks in that. So in the new setup, there are multiple choice questions. You have to go through part 1 of the Al Razak labs. You just have to complete the labs. Based on the completion of the labs, you will be scored on that. Al Razak part 2, job-based labs, passing an English exam, IELTS or Duolingo, whatever you want to do.
What?
This is
Okay.
this is the new requirement coming up for level 6.
Right. Right.
It's coming
What?
for level 3, 4, 5, 6, all of them, right? So we
Okay.
making these as a hard set of requirements, right? Final
Right.
project labs, there will be a final project labs that we will be evaluated, right? EQ course completion and MCQ test, LinkedIn course completion and profile optimization. This is what you have to do. So there is no oral exam per se. Oral exam is going away. We will be able to evaluate your English communication skills through Duolingo or through IELTS exam. Duolingo is cheaper. It's widely accepted in all the world.
Uh, I
So
have a question. Would having like an A on my English O levels, serve
you will be
as
exempted for that.
I'll be exempted? Okay, cool. Just wanted to confirm.
So if you have an A on the O level part, right, which is, I think that's English is mandatory in O level, right?
Yes. Yes.
Given subject. So if you do that, then yes, you will be exempted from the
Okay.
requirements. You don't have to go for that, inshallah. Okay. Again, congratulations in terms of passing. Say my
Thank you.
regards to your mother
Okay.
and to your sisters and to your
It was nice, talking to you.
yes, after a long time, long time.
Really long time.
You have grown up. The last time I saw you, you didn't have a beard, but now, mashallah, you have a beard, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So really like the progression, mashallah. Keep up the good work. May Allah give you more success.
Inshallah.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.